What's up, guys? We're back at it again with another Prfffflmp. We've got our original hosts, Trevor and
Sam, that's me,
Sam,
your commissioner.
wi-
Yeah.
with the one and only, the perfect flute baller himself, our guest host today, Josiah Downey.
Yes. Welcome, Josiah. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, we are thrilled to have you on. Now, do you have anything exciting you want to add initially as we get started here?
I was surprised when Sam texted me earlier and said, "Hey, we want you to be on the show." If I'm honest, I've probably watched maybe 15 to 20 seconds of the podcast so far, so I don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess I'll learn today as I'm on it.
Oh, you'll find out. Josiah, just so
You're
you
gonna
know,
learn what you've been missing out on,
Yeah,
that's
so
for sure.
I'll probably go back and rewatch now that
Yeah.
I'm
you're gonna you're gonna see like all the cool things you learn, and you know what? Your team's 1-4, so like maybe you really should listen to the
Yeah,
podcast.
maybe you should have been tuning in.
quite
I I,
possibly.
I will
Yeah.
say, Josiah, you were not the first person I asked, nor were you the second.
I was talking with Paul this week, and I thought this was a pretty high praise. Because he said that he normally just scrubs through for us to talk about his team, but
Mhm.
he
Mhm.
felt pretty confident when we were just over there gassing up his team and just telling him that he's gotten unlucky. So, you guys, maybe that's something other people could look forward to. Maybe we will tell you that your team's good and you don't even know. So
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty certain I know how my team is based on the win loss record. It seems
fair
like
enough.
their performance is speaking for itself.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Well, let's get started. I'm gonna start sharing my screen here if I know how to do this.
Where do we want to start? What matchup do we want to start with this week?
That is a great question. Hold on. I like to yeah, there you go. I like it kind of like that. Okay. So I mean we can start from the top down. I don't know. Is there any marquee matchup you want to go over?
I
Let's
think
go
the
with
I think yeah, I think the marquee matchup this week was you had Furious Furries for first and up against
yeah.
Do It for Damas. I think that was the marquee matchup. I mean,
Yeah.
that
That's
was
fair.
those are the top two teams
Right.
heading
They
into
were
this
both
week.
3-1, weren't they? Yeah, they were one
Yeah.
and two. We can
Mm-hmm.
start there.
Yeah.
So let's break this thing down now, Josiah. I'm sure you'll have a lot of insight here. So we've got the Furious Furries
Mhm.
and De Armas. So I mean, what are we looking at here initially? Do you think? I know that initially we had said that Levi's team was very dependent on
This running
Derrick
back.
Henry and Alvin Kamara going crazy, and they didn't quite go crazy this week.
Yeah. He was also missing out on Jonathan Taylor, which hurt him quite a bit.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. He had to start whoever this is.
D
Is it Denard
Robinson.
Demarcus Robinson? I don't even know who that guy is.
No idea. You
Uh,
know who that is, Josiah?
I do not. I definitely recognize more of the names on the left than I do on the right.
okay, that's yeah.
For what
To
it's
be
Not
fair,
worth.
anymore.
sometimes that's a good way of knowing who's gonna win. If you know who they're playing, that's a good sign. Um, yeah, but I mean, Levi's starting Deshaun Watson, which is never a position you want to be. And
No.
similar to starting Deshaun Watson is starting David Njoku, who Deshaun Watson is supposedly throwing to. Um, that's not a
Yeah.
good combo to get started with. You
Yeah.
really don't have any faith. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, we're talking about Njoku. I'm kind of surprised. Well, maybe I shouldn't be surprised that he started Njoku over Likely because Likely hadn't done much over the
Right.
last couple of weeks, but he did have two big
I was
touchdowns
gonna say, didn't
against.
Likely score 2 touchdowns? Yeah, he
He
did.
did, yeah. Yeah, so he had 14 points. It wouldn't have really mattered for Josiah,
Yeah,
but that was just, or not
that
Josiah. It
was
wouldn't have mattered.
the classic the thing that I said, right? You can't start him, but you can't fit him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like what are you supposed to do with these guys? So
Mhm. Yeah.
that's unfortunate. You don't have any confidence really in any wide receivers playing out of Carolina right now,
No.
because for obvious reasons. Similarly, you probably don't have faith in wide receivers playing out of Pittsburgh.
No, definitely not.
So
I have friends who are both Carolina and Pittsburgh fans, and they're not thrilled with the season so
I'd
far.
say they
Yeah,
would probably
that's
agree with
good.
that
That's good
sentiment.
insight. Yeah, the inside information there from the fan
Yeah,
bases.
and the inside scoop.
Yeah,
And then to be fair, the New York honestly his best start of the week was probably just the New York Jets defense, right? Like
yeah,
their defense isn't that bad.
yeah.
They did pretty well. Obviously, Derrick
He
Henry
got
still did Derrick Henry things.
Yeah, he got really, he kind of got bottled up for most of that game, but he had a
He
big
did.
51-yard run at the end.
Yeah.
Um,
Now you
let's
you remember we've said
go
this every
ahead.
week. He's a volume guy. You got to get him his 20 25 touches. When they're
Yeah,
capping him at 15, he's not going to get there.
yeah.
So the numbers
So
don't lie here.
yeah, let's flip over to Andrew's team. Josiah, what do you like from Andrew's team this week?
I like that D Moore scored an even 25.00.
Yeah,
I actually
That's
like that too.
that's a
yeah,
really satisfying thing to look at. Patrick Mahomes getting 1,444 is also pretty
yeah.
satisfying to look
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
I think that Andrew would probably agree with those
Yeah.
statements.
Yeah. He probably isn't terribly satisfied with 1,444. He would probably prefer this to be like a 4,444. But beggars can't be choosers, right?
Yeah,
yeah, I mean he's still won by quite a high margin,
A
yeah.
solid victory, no doubt,
I would
no
say.
doubt. And then what do we got going on the bench here?
Ooh.
Yeah, I had Geno Smith on the bench. He could have won by even
Geno
more.
Smith. He could have played Geno Smith. Now, there's not a whole lot going on besides Geno Smith on this bench here. Right? A lot of guys that either aren't playing or don't look to be playing. Now, it is nice for him to take a dub with Saquon sitting on his bench. You like to wait
Hmm.
on those weeks when your stud is benched, so that's pretty good for him. That's clearly why he started Zach Charbonnet, because we all knew Zach Charbonnet was not getting touches as long as Walker's not injured.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Hey,
yeah, I mean,
so looking at Andrew's bench, do you know what the PUP and the O and the D mean? Do you know what all that stuff means, Josiah?
I think so. So O is out.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about D?
Q is questionable.
Q
D
is
is
questionable.
doubtful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not actually
What
sure
about-
what the pup R is.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that is physically unable to perform.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Josiah,
It's like
I've got a question for you, Josiah. So let's say that you had a guy that was, out or doubtful. That means that they're hurt, right?
Mhm.
So if you were on the receiving end of a trade of one of those guys that was hurt for a guy that's not hurt and playing really well, would you accept that trade?
Probably not. Probably not.
Okay, just curious.
Mhm.
Okay.
now to be
Yeah.
fair, if you could argue that you could trade for someone, like theoretically Nick Chubb is good. I don't know, is he coming back this season?
That's a question remain to be seen.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So like there is an argument to sometimes trade for injured players that you think will come back and have good value late in the season. But if you're not doing that, you probably shouldn't trade for injured players.
yeah.
Yeah, just for whoever may be considering doing that.
Yeah.
Well, let's come on down here.
Yeah, what's next?
I kind of want to hit this one. This is the closest matchup of the week.
Sure.
We got
Squad
Matt and Cody. We got the Dub Squad and the Procrastinators. What did I call them before? I think I called them the prostate podcasters or something like that.
Podcasters, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a podcast for when we're all in our 40s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I do want to click this recap because I want to see what it looked like here. Where's the? Yeah, I mean, so it looks like Matt was always on top, but it seemed very, very close there. Actually, I guess no, they were done Sunday night, weren't they? Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
yeah. That's an interesting. Very rarely, I feel like, do you have like both players, all their players are done by Sunday night. But
Yeah.
I mean, surely we can play the game of who should I have started to win this game? Immediately, I look at Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence wins Cody the game.
Yeah, that's tough. Cody's still playing that 3 quarterback system over there where he can
He
only start
is.
one.
He is. He also could have started the Buffalo against or over Baltimore. That would have got him the dub. A lot of options there.
Looking at Matt's team real quick, just for a quick second, Josiah, what do you notice? What do you notice on Matt's squad there? Was he missing something? Maybe.
Yeah, there's an empty slot there. He had no defense. If you
Interesting.
did that in an actual football game,
No,
I'm pretty sure
I was gonna
you'd
say,
lose.
I'm pretty sure that's what the Bengals did this past Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, they were pretty bad. So, actually, I don't even know how many points the Bengals got this past Sunday, but it couldn't have been a whole lot. Well, Baltimore got 1 point, so I imagine the Bengals probably got less than that.
Yeah. They definitely did not. Neither of those teams really performed on a defensive front. That's for sure.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing from Matt here is one, he won without a defense, which is pretty impressive. But two, he could have won by even more had Evan McPherson made a certain 50 some odd yard field goal at the end of that game.
That's true. Yeah, that would have also probably made the Baltimore the defense go down as well.
Yeah, he would have just beat Cody by even more. Matt has Matt's got a really good team. He struck gold with that Jaden Daniels pick. Tyreek Hill hasn't really panned out that much this year, but he's sitting at 4-1.
He's 4-1.
correct.
Yeah. Well, I think Achan's he's in a tough spot with Tyreek Hill and Achan. That's for sure. But he did get Jordan Mason, which was a super duper value waiver wire pickup.
Yeah, he's struck some gold this year for sure.
But
is D Swift related to T Swift?
I believe they're pretty much the same, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's
DeAndre. Yeah. I think that's T Swift's brother, actually.
Oh, okay. That tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually, speaking of DeAndre Swift, though, I mean, he's gone crazy these last 2 games.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. Also, for Cody, Mark Andrews actually put up some points this week. I think he had his first catch, maybe all year. I'm not sure.
He almost scored a touchdown.
Yeah, I guess it just takes playing the Bengals defense for Mark Andrews to get some catches.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite players on fantasy football is Tyler Bass. I don't know why. I just think his name is funny. Just he's just Tyler Bass. He goes out there, he kicks field goals for the Buffalo Bills, and his name's Tyler Bass.
That's pretty awesome. He's a bad Bass.
Yeah, that's right, he is. Brandon Ayuk finally had a good game. That's pretty cool for him.
Yeah. So Josiah, you're in the 1-4 club with Cody right now. Are you guys working together to try and figure out how to improve your teams?
No.
Okay.
No. I did try to propose a trade to McGlone earlier for a player that might have been slightly better than one of my players.
Did he accept it?
He rolled a 7, so he did.
So you didn't get it.
We don't have enough time on the podcast to talk about all that shenanigans.
It's really a fall from grace because if I remember last season, you were really on a roll. Do you know what kind of happened to your team since last season?
I don't know. I think when they got into the summer break, they were just too comfortable. I also don't really have most of the same players as last year. So
that is a little tough. Yeah,
that could play into it as well.
Yeah. Well, while we're on the topic, let's just look at your team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I am correct, I believe you didn't have Kyler Murray last year.
I don't think so.
I don't think you had any of these guys last year. But
not one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Josiah, we've kind of dogged on Rashid Shaheed every week.
Okay.
And you haven't heard most of that. But we've been talking about how he's a very boom or bust player. However, in these last 2 outings, you definitely have a lot more confidence in his volume than the
He's
boom or bustness of him.
booming, yeah.
Booming,
As Antonio Brown would say, business is booming.
Business is booming. As Antonio Brown would say, please don't sue me. Anyways,
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Raheed Shaheed was definitely a good pick for you. When did you pick? I remember we were able to? Was it history? Is that where? Yeah.
You gotta get a draft.
No, it's right here. It's in history.
Yeah,
Right here.
it
He
is.
was drafted in the 11th round, so that's a banger
What a
pick for
steal.
the 11th round. Yeah.
What a steal. Yeah,
What a steal.
Did you have some inside knowledge on that, Josiah, when you drafted him?
You know, you have to ask the AI that did all the picking. I wasn't really involved in the selection part.
Yeah.
I just went on at the end of the night and said, I wonder what my team will look like this year. And
Oh,
I don't really recognize most of these names.
I think that is a bold. I think that is a bold strategy. Just let it come to you. Let fate decide. So do you
just to be clear,
anybody on your team?
What's that?
Do you know anyone on your team?
Well, I know the Eagles player, obviously.
Which one is that?
See, I had two teams. I know I have. Yeah, I have Elliott.
Jake Elliott. You know Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
Who was resting this week?
Yeah, that's right. He was.
You got to rest that kicking leg.
That's right.
Yeah, I have two other Eagles players.
You got the Bengals defense too.
Yeah, it's probably good I didn't put them in.
They got 1 point, so suck it, Baltimore.
Yeah. Well, Baltimore also got 1 point.
Yeah, I know.
Fantasy gave them each a pity point.
So Josiah, did you draft Taysom Hill, or did the auto draft Taysom Hill?
Oh, auto drafted all of my team.
I would certainly consider not making Taysom Hill continue to be on your team and finding someone maybe better than Taysom Hill to be on your team.
Yeah, I haven't actually put him in ever since he's there.
I don't think you will.
Yeah,
he had a good
I tried to trade him to McGlone earlier for somebody who was supposed to get 7 or 8 points this week, which I felt I don't know if that was probably not a good trade on McGlone's part, but it didn't feel ridiculous.
Josiah, my favorite thing about your bench right now is that your bench only scored a single point, and that was just because the Bengals defense didn't let up one more touchdown or one more field goal or something like that.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel there.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody will come off of the bye and just have a real strong week. I'll probably.
That's right. Yeah. Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
They'll come in and go crazy for you.
Yeah, we haven't really talked over. Yeah, I was going to say we haven't looked at Aaron's team really. I mean, Aaron had a pretty solid week.
Very solid week. Actually, was he
Joe
the best?
Flacco?
I think he had the best week No, he did not. That was Zach, we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, I mean, really just everyone went out and performed other than I guess Najee Harris, but that's Pittsburgh, right? And Debo, Debo had a stinker.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game.
But he's been kind of injured, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been
a little bit.
He's missed a little bit. I like how Aaron is. Aaron's kind of riding the Indianapolis as they go.
Big fan of that. Yeah. He's just. It was a seamless transition. He went straight from Anthony Richardson to Joe Flacco, no questions asked. However, I am a little disappointed in that he did not start Josh Downs. That could have been a.
Aaron, I thought you were a Colts fan. I thought you were a real Colts fan.
Yeah,
although to be
a real Colts fan.
He could have started him over Debo, but other than that, it wouldn't have really helped him out much.
You could have started him over Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Probably wouldn't, but you could. Yeah, I mean, what did Zay Flowers do? He had 9 catches. That's pretty good. No tutties.
Would you like to say anything to Aaron since you just finished facing him this week?
Uh, Good job, Aaron. Congratulations. You are helping me reach the bottom of the standings once again. I had risen up to 11th, I think, but I'm pretty sure now I'm back down to 12th again.
You are. Yep. In case you wondered,
Yep.
you are
I'm
back to 12.
solidly propping up this fantasy football league.
Someone has to, right?
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to be the
good
bottom.
years and bad years.
Yeah.
I'm going for like the golf score approach.
Okay.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's tough. I mean, a lot of you guys had a lot of people on bye right now, right? And Isaiah Pacheco's injured, Pollard's on bye, Goff's on bye, Richardson's injured. You can't start Roma Dunze because he doesn't ever get the ball. He had like one game where he scored a touchdown, and besides that, it's nothing. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of his decisions were kind of locked in. It is what it is. But Brock Bowers, we didn't talk about Brock Bowers finally kind of having a breakout game here, right? I mean, he'd been having modest days, and then he finally, I think this was his first touchdown in the NFL, so that's pretty good for him.
Yeah, he's having a pretty solid rookie year.
He is. I'm glad that I drafted him in my dynasty league. That was a pretty good dynasty pick for me.
Pickup, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's come on down to the next one. All right. So we can go up or down. We can go to Sam, or we can go to the Numballers.
Let's talk about. Let's get mine out of the way because I think mine was actually kind of a fun matchup.
Yeah. Before we even click on it, let's just take a quick little gander. So I just want to point out how many teams you would have beaten this week had you played those teams. So you would have beaten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams this week. If you played any one of those 9, you would have beaten them. However, there were 2 teams that you would not beat. One of them is here, and the other one you played.
Yeah, that's how it goes. So
the cookie
that is how it goes.
Crumbled that way, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, starting off strong here, looking at the quarterback matchups, right? I mean, it's the Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson. That was,
trying to be, as unbiased as I can. Although that game made me super sad. What a great game to watch for offense.
Yeah, great. It was to be honest, right? This year the NFL has been, passing dry, and a bit of a touchdown drought. That game kind of inspired hope again that we could watch people score lots of touchdowns.
Yeah. Did it give did it give Josiah hope? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah. Did you feel hopeful watching that game, Josiah?
I felt a little bit of like the tricklings of hope.
Okay. A little hope trickle.
If I had actually watched the game, it might have hit me and splashed me in the face. But I think more of just little drippings coming down.
Okay.
I think that just tells how much hope came from that game, that you were still able to feel it though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, when I saw that score, I was like, "That's a lot of points in one game."
That's a lot of points right there.
It was a lot of points. Yeah, I mean, big time matchup. It's funny that Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson going head to head in fantasy here with mine and Zach's teams. Burrow got the best of him, but he did throw a pick, which didn't really help me much. But really, huge weeks from both me and Zach. I mean, Zach's the highest score for the week. You had Ramondre Stevenson coming back with a big week. Justin Tucker had a good week. He even had.
I mean, Drake London, right? Drake London went crazy. Yeah, Drake, was that
Drake London was massive.
Yeah. And he didn't even play Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I know. So he, kind of, that sucks for me, but what am I supposed to do? I guess if I started, let's see. I guess if I had started Chase Brown over, or no, it's not. If I had started Alex Pierce over Metcalf, over Metcalf, actually, then
you would have won if you'd done that. Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna do that in real life.
No shot there.
Yeah. But yeah, Zach had a good week. His first win, I think. Is that right?
This was his first win of fantasy football 2024. Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying last week, and I know, I'm sure Zach and Josiah are very aware of this because they haven't listened at all. But we've been hyping up Zach's team all season long. So it was a matter of time until one of us ran into the buzzsaw.
Yeah, it is a little interesting that his team got an A and your team got a C plus.
That's
Did you
kind of
notice
silly.
that? Yeah.
No, I didn't look at it.
But look at, I mean, even though it got close at the end, it does kind of feel like Zach was in a relatively dominant position the whole time. Is that how you felt watching it transpire?
Yeah, I came into Monday night thinking, like I got Xavier Worthy and Kareem Hunt going out there. Probably wasn't going to be enough to get me all the way to it, but he had the lead just far enough out of reach to where I needed 2 huge games, and they put up some pretty decent scores.
They did. I mean, between the two of them, they put up over almost 30 points, right? But they needed another 10 points or so. Yeah. I mean, really, really quite a shootout. You love to see a good shootout in fantasy, though, right? It's pretty fun.
You do.
I think we.
Yeah. Was Zach bragging about the win at work?
I haven't heard anything but that.
Yeah, he's been just nonstop gloating.
Yeah, it's pretty much he just walks in like patting himself on the back.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to give Zach his first win, I guess.
Yeah, he needed that. Good for him. Good for him. Well, let's come on to the next one. We can do mine or we can do the numballers. Let's do mine.
Okay. How many minutes we got left, Trevor?
We're not at the 10-minute mark yet, so I don't know. But we're cruising along. We're doing good. Usually we're moving a lot better pace than we normally do.
Josiah, I'm assuming this is the first time you've seen this. I need you to give me your opinion on the logo for Phillyphobia.
I mean, I've only seen it on the phone. It's very small. Can you make it any larger, Trevor?
I don't know if I can.
I don't know if you want to.
Yeah.
I go to me? No, that's not
what is that exactly, Trevor? And where did you find it?
Well, this is just my stats as a fantasy footballer. It's a jock strap. Oh no! All right, we are now at the 10-minute mark. So it's a jock strap here, and I downloaded it off Googling jock strap from the interwebs.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Was there a reason you chose that to represent your team this year?
I thought it would be funny, mainly. I think I actually did that the first year that I did this too.
You're right.
Yeah. Sam thought it was a man thong, but I mean, clearly it's a jock strap.
Obvious.
I don't know how I got that confused.
Yeah, that's kind of on you, but
well, anyway, let's go look at the matchup. Yeah.
I mean, what is there to say, right? My team kind of went crazy.
You almost had everybody in double digits except for 2, and those 2 had 8 points still. Isn't bad.
Yeah. CeeDee Lamb kind of stunk, but CJ Stroud underperformed, but Nico Collins did what Nico Collins does.
He did get hurt. He
did get hurt.
He got hurt.
Yeah. So he could have had an even bigger day if he didn't get hurt. But it is interesting seeing a lot of guys actually performing underneath their projections. But my team was somehow projected to come away with 107 points this week, which is surprisingly high, I feel like.
Yeah, well, if you look at your defense and your kicker, that's where you got a big chunk of your points from.
Dude, I'm a big fan of Young Ho Koo. Young Ho Koo is my guy.
He was your highest scorer this week.
Yeah, and probably last week too.
Yeah,
20 points. That's a lot of kidding.
Yeah, and then I picked Seattle specifically because I thought the Giants were bad, and they are. Fun fact. So that worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah, but the Giants still won that game though.
They did.
For fantasy purposes, the defense did pretty well.
Hey, they had 3 sacks, they recovered a fumble, and scored a defensive touchdown. So that was pretty good for me.
Yeah.
And then we go over, to Tanner. Oh, do you have more to say about mine?
Yeah,
we can boast of my team a bit more.
Yeah, I was just gonna say one last thing on your team was that Travis Kelce had a pretty good week. I think
this was his best week
so far.
Was it?
Yeah,
he
had 89 yards last week, but I mean close enough. So for Travis Kelce fans, which I think that there's a lot of them in the world.
Yeah.
That, he's starting to return to form a little bit. But yeah, going over to
good for
Tanner's
him.
team, I have a fun fact about Dak Prescott.
Yeah, what's that?
So Dak Prescott became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw an interception throw 2 interceptions in the same game, but on different days.
Now you're gonna have to explain that to those of us at home that maybe don't understand what that even means.
And those of us who are currently in this podcast who don't know what that means.
So the Steelers and the Cowboys played the Sunday night game. There was a big rainstorm that delayed the start of the game, and so the game, I don't know what time exactly it started, but he threw 1 interception like late Sunday night at like 11 something p.m. or 12, something like that. And then later in the game, around 1 something a.m., he threw another interception. So same game, 2 different days, interception on both days in the same game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most quarterbacks don't even have a shot at doing that.
Right.
No, they
can't accomplish it.
And you could even argue that, that's the stat that I don't know if that'll ever get broken. That it seems unlikely, but maybe someday it'll happen again.
You never know, yeah. Yeah, I just thought that was fun. I thought people would enjoy that.
That is fun. More to say, we got D Wicks over here not doing a lot. Chris Olave not doing a lot. His was very top heavy compared to mine. His guys were a little more boom and bust, and mine were all kind of in the same position. Mm-hmm. Kyle Pitts finally having a game. Look at him go. No touchdowns, but
Chuba Hubbard continuing a strong showing, 3 straight good weeks. I know Matt is regretting dropping him every second of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, after week 1 and a 1.4 points, surely you didn't have too much faith in him, but
yeah,
maybe he could have held on a little longer.
Look at these benches here. Kirk Cousins on the bench, 35 points. It wouldn't have really helped Tanner much, but man, that's a lot of points to leave on the bench.
A lot of points on the bench, yeah. And then I had Keon Coleman with 11. And Christian McCaffrey on injured reserve, good for him. Rashee Rice, injured reserve, good for him.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins doing DeAndre Hopkins things still.
So this Tanner's our defending champion. Based on what you see of his team right now, what do you think he has a good chance of repeating?
I certainly have a lot of faith in Tanner. He knows a lot more about football than I do, for sure. So
good answer.
That's fair. Yeah, good answer there. Tanner's team is decent, right? Especially if Christian McCaffrey ever comes back to life, he's going to be looking like he's in a good spot. A little tough losing Rashee Rice. Don't know how long he's going to be out for, but his team could quickly turn it around if some guys do end up peeling off IR. That's for sure. But not that he's in a bad position, right? He's 3-2. He's in 6th place right now. Not a whole lot to say there, right? It is nice to knock off Andrew and Tanner back-to-back weeks, though, for your boy over here. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you moved up into 2nd place too.
I'm up into 2nd place, and we have 4 minutes left, so we're gonna get to the premier matchup. We have the Stoppable Force and the Ballers.
Don't forget, we didn't talk about Serious Slavies and Do It for DeArmas. Oh yeah, we did. Never mind.
Yeah. All right, anyway. The Numballers put up 120 points, and he didn't even start a running back. He left David Montgomery in.
He had injured receivers in his lineup. Malik Neighbors was hurt, didn't even play.
Yeah, he left an injured Malik Neighbors and a guy on buy-in. If he'd put in, homeboy and homeboy, right, that's another 27 points right off the rip there. We got to get Paul to actually change his lineup. I don't know how much more we can say to get him to fix his lineup,
But you know what? I will say for Paul, I do like his receivers. 2 of them are Bengals. Paul has stuck by T. Higgins all year. That's his boy. And T. Higgins came through for Paul this week. 24 points. He knew that Paul was really sticking up for him.
Paul was rewarded for playing T. Higgins every week, even when he was injured.
Jamar Chase had a huge game as well. So really, 50 points between the 2 Bengals receivers for Paul.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, let's look at the stoppable force here, right? So he played Dallas Goedert, who didn't play. He played Ladd McConkey, who didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
So really,
and then his team
the same
stumped me
amount
on
of
that.
players that actually scored.
That is true. They both did start the same amount of players.
Yeah.
However, Paul's players did much better than McGlone's did. Yeah,
they did. Yeah.
Gabe Wilson had a good game, but beyond that, I mean, what's there to say, right?
Rough week for Sam Darnold. I know we've been kind of going back and forth on Jacobs' quarterback. Caleb Williams is having a pretty decent year, so Jacobs kind of in a tough spot now. I think he's got two decent options at quarterback.
I mean,
I think
I'd say
Jacob just needs to play the matchups.
Yeah, he's probably playing Caleb next week since Sam Darnold's on bye, but it won't come up.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he played Dallas Goedert and Ladd McConkey last week.
You never know.
Yeah, he likes those players that are on bye. He seems to be.
That's true. Yeah.
Well,
that about does it for.
Yeah, I will say, Josiah. So you've been looking at Jacob's team a lot today. How do you think Jacob can improve his team with these trade rumors spinning around there?
I would say that trying to do it by random trades determined by a dice is probably not the way to create a winning team. It's probably a good way to create other teams that will beat you more thoroughly.
Yeah. I almost feel like there should be like if we're going to do this random number generator, you got to have risk involved, right? So like if I send him a trade, he gets to then send me a counter trade, and then he rolls the D20. 10 and up, he accepts yours. 10 and below, or below 10, then you have to accept his. That way, you got a little stake in the game.
That's a fun idea. I like that.
That's fun. I will say, just for everybody listening, because I know that like maybe 2 people are listening, but if you are listening, I am all for the chaos. I love the chaos, but please don't make unfair trades. That's no fun.
It's not fun for the rest of the team, for the rest of the leagues.
No, it's definitely not. I love the idea, Jacob. I appreciate it. I'm all for it. But if trades are going to happen, please make them fair. They will get vetoed, and if they don't get vetoed, and we think it's unfair, like